Okay, cool. So we'll move on to question number 2. This is from Lacey, who said, "I'd like to collaborate with other artists to build a following, but I also find it difficult writing in shared environments. How would you advise finding a collaboration that would work effectively?"
Right. So I think same thing with anything, with business partners, with band members. It's got to click. It's got to feel right. And the way you do that is you experiment. Just the same as a relationship. I mean, you go on. If you think about relationships, you go on dates. And on those dates, you actually go, oh, we've got a lot in common. This could work. And then from there, it progresses stage by stage by stage. Just actually finding someone and out of the blue, or going into a bar and just saying, do you know what? Shall we get married? All of a sudden, too much. I think the way you do this is it's work. And it's also not pushing it too far too quickly. I think one thing that songwriters should do is they should get together with other songwriters from a learning process as well as a creative process. I think it's a really great thing to do. If I was a songwriter, I'd be looking at collaborating at least once, maybe twice a week, just to see what comes out of it. But I wouldn't put any pressure on it. I think to start with, it would just be like a first date. It would just be, I'll come over, I'll bring my piano, I'll bring my guitar, I've got some ideas for some lyrics. Let's just sit down for a couple of hours, have a chat, write a song, see what happens, and if it works, then we can go from there. So don't put too much pressure on it, because you might get there and you might think, I don't like the way they songwrite, or it doesn't really fit my genre, or whatever it is. That would just be too much pressure on the situation. So I think what's really, really important here is you take it slowly, like you take any relationship in general. You wouldn't just go into business with someone you met that day, because that would be a stupid thing to do. You take baby steps, but also you do the work, and you actually find 30, 40, 50, 60 songwriters who are prepared to write with you, and you take a chunk of your life, which could be 6 months or a year, to just write a bunch of songs. And some of them will fall away, and some of them will stick with you because you'll think, actually, I really like writing with you. Some people as well, and this is another thing, which I think this is a really important law in business, a thing about business, is I want to work with people I like. I want to work with people I get on with. However, I also want the best people. Now, those two things don't always go hand in hand. I'm very lucky in the way that I work with lots of people I like, but I've been in plenty of businesses where I've had the best people working with me that I didn't particularly get on with that well. And so, you do have to use your judgment, but sometimes there could be an absolute winning formula with a songwriting partnership that you don't quite like the way they work. You don't quite like them as people. However, when it comes to the finished product, you do say, but it is better than anything I've written before. So therefore you do have to make a judgment call. There is this thing with music being so creative and so wonderful that you just think, I just want to work with the loveliest people. But you do have to get results. One thing we talk about when it comes to building audiences, when it comes to getting publishing deals, getting record deals, building businesses, the best strategy, the number one strategy over everything else, if you're looking at a strategy of a cannot fail strategy, the best way of doing it is just being better than everybody else. If you could put one thing down as the most important thing, being the best definitely works. If you're an athlete, if you run faster than everybody else, you are definitely in for a shot at winning an Olympic medal. And it's the same thing. So you do want to find people that you connect with, but you also want to look at the end results and say, do you know what? Who is going to actually rein me in when I go on my I want to write in this style, and they're saying, actually, I think that lyric's a bit cheesy, and they're not letting you get away with things. So there's a mixture, but I think what's very, very important is that you're not just trying to find that songwriter straight away, and you're just starting off with finding lots and lots of songwriters and just seeing what happens to begin with. And that's a phrase I hate. Seeing what happens is something that in my life I don't like to do that. I don't like to see what happens. I like to actually go, no, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to make that happen. But I think when it comes to relationships, you can't do that. I think that a relationship does have to blossom, especially when it comes to creativity and songwriting and how people work. So
that's to do with luck as well, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely luck. But again, you can definitely narrow the luck down, because if you write with 3 people, it's more about luck. If you write with 300 people, then
you'll find someone.
Someone. Yeah, exactly. You'll definitely put the work in. So, luck can always be negated by by hard work, because the harder you work, the luckier you always get. And if you write 10 songs with 300 people, so that's 3,000 songs, there will be some gems in there. There will be a couple of songwriting partnerships that really blossom. It's just that people want to have a look round, see who can write some songs, do a collab. Did that work? Yes, maybe I'll carry on. Why not just actually say, look, I'm going to look at my diary and I'm going to try and make sure that I leave Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, because I might only do one a week, but I've got those evenings for collabs, and I'm just going to start approaching bands and musicians and anybody, because you might also find that there's some hardcore songwriters in your area who are fantastic, but it doesn't work. You might find that there's just an amazing singer who just happens to be very talented at top line melodies, and so I would really put the work in and just find lots and lots of people and just take the time. Again, goes back to patience and long-term game. Take the time to find these people and build up.
Yeah, because I was going to say as well, like, if it's writing that's sort of the difficulty, maybe collaborations with like producers and that kind of thing as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's so many options.
Yeah, it doesn't just have to be the songwriters.